The Late Show studio pulsed with a warm, lively charge as Stephen Colbert stepped to his desk, his grin bright, and earnest energy lighting up the room with wit and heart, the audience roaring their welcome with a cheer that rattled the walls, a wave of sound promising a night of sharp truth and genuine laughs. Across from him sat Elon Musk, the billionaire mogul, with a slick tousled look, his posture slouched, but his eyes sharp, a glint of arrogance simmering in them, his presence radiating wealth and power, his hands resting smugly on the armrests as if ready to dominate the crowd. A blend of Colbert's loyal fans and Musk's tech-obsessed followers clapped and shouted their anticipation, a tense pulse rising in the room, eager for Colbert's sharp insight to cut through Musk's bravado, a brewing clash humming beneath the surface, threatening to ignite into something fierce. As Colbert stood tall for a moment, Colbert launched in with his signature grace, his voice clear and steady. Folks, we've got a big guest tonight, Elon Musk, the guy with more money than most countries, and a plan to ditch us all for Mars. His words carried with a knowing smile, a nod to the crowd that drew hearty laughter to the room, buzzing with trust in Colbert's knack for calling it straight, a champion for the everyday viewer, while Musk smirked and leaned back. Stephen, I'm saving humanity one rocket at a time. You're welcome, his tone oozing condescension, a line that landed flat, the audience murmuring, some clapping weakly. A quiet thread of unease snaking to set the hint, a man too big for room. Colbert raised an eyebrow, saving us still flaunting that billionaire glow, like it's our privilege to watch. Elon, his jab was gentle, but firm, a stand for fairness. The crowd chuckled, but the mood tightened, a sparring match would wait, at least for now, as Colbert guided the conversation towards SpaceX. So, Elon, this Mars idea, you're serious about colonizing it, or is it just a playground for the ultra-rich to escape us peasants? His question cloaked in a grin, a wink to the camera, drawing laughter and applause from the crowd, a steady hum of appreciation for Colbert's fight for the little guy. Musk shrugged. It's serious, Stephen. Earth's a mess. I'm building the future Mars, his words as replies, smug, tinged with disdain. The crowd shifting, some clapping faintly, others frowning their discomfort, growing a sign of a man disconnected from the ground. Colbert leaned forward. The future. Huh, what about us stuck here footing the bill for your cosmic joyride? Ever think of that? His tone light, but piercing, a spark in his eyes, a question hanging in the air like a challenge hovering between satire and something real. The tension climbed. Musk smirk, fading, his fingers tapping the armrest. Oh, Stephen, you're whining about bills now. How stick to comedy, leave the vision to me. His voice cool edge with scorn, a barb that stung the audience, gasping, some booing softly, others leaning, incensing the shift, the tension coiling tighter like a spring. Colbert smile, thin comedy, sure, Elon, but I'm not the one dodging reality with a private planet. His retort swift and grounded, a sliver of steel beneath his words, a crowd cheering louder, some clapping hard, their faith in him flaring the room, tipping towards something raw. Could Colbert hold a moral high ground, or had Musk just lit a fuse that would burn them both? The crowd's cheers surged for Colbert, their trust in his grounded, with a lifeline in the charged studio air taut with energy, as Musk's dismissive barb lingered, his smirk thinning to a tight, smug line, his fingers now drumming the armrest with restless edges, cold eyes scanning the crowd like they were beneath him, a mogul poised to bulldoze whatever stood in his path, while Colbert sat steady, his grin fading into resolve, his voice slicing through the hum, dodging reality. Elon, that's rich coming from a guy who thinks Mars fixes everything while we're still here picking up the pieces. His words crisp, a jab that struck with precision, the audience clapping hard, some whooping their support. A wall behind him, the studio now a battleground, Musk's arrogance cracking under the weight of real confrontation, the tension simmering hotter with each breath. Musk leaned in, his tone icy. Oh, Stephen, you're so noble, crying for the little people while I'm out there solving problems. Maybe stick to your jokes. His words drenched in disdain, a shove that dismissed not just Colbert but the entire room. The crowd booing louder now, some shouting their unease transforming into anger, a wave crashing against Musk's swagger, the clash no longer simmering, but blazing into the open. Colbert's eyes flashed joke, sure, but at least I'm not pretending my bank account makes me a savior. You're solving problems for who Elon yourself, his retort thunders fears, but fair stand planted deep for the audience, their cheers erupting, some rising to their feet. The studio quaking with support, a host calling out a titan. A righteous confrontation, raw and unshakable, a wound Musk couldn't shrug off a blaze he had stoked too far, and now the confrontation surged on Musk's hands, slicing through the air. You don't get it, Stephen. I'm building the future. You're stuck in the past, whining about fairness. It's pathetic. His voice rose sharp, an angry, a snarl of entitlement breaking loose his patience, snapping clean. The crowd erupted into jeers, their boos a storm swelling in fury, some yelling with voices full of fire there Loyalty to Colbert hardening in that moment. The air grew dense thick with a shared rage of tempest that cracked the calm wide open. But Colbert stayed grounded, his voice steady a rock in the chaos of the future. Huh sounds like a fancy excuse to leave us behind. I'm not whining. I'm watching out for them, something you. Forgot his words struck like a shield of hand reaching for the audience, who answered with a tidal wave of applause, a roar that shook the rafters a host. Standing firm, Musk scorn only. Feeding the flame, this clash no longer just a segment. It had become a war of principles, a battle, where one man stood for people, and the other for himself, a divide too wide to cross. Then the breaking point, Musk surged his feet, his chair scraping across the floor, with sharp grind, his voice booming. I don't need this, Stephen, you're a clown. I'm done with your sanctimonious garbage. He yanked off his mic, the cord flailing, in the air his glare wild is. Face twisted with rage, the polished. Billionaire sheen cracked and crumbling. Keep your little show, I got better things to do, he barked, as he stomped offstage, his footsteps pounding the floor, his exit a thunderous tantrum, the crowd a mix of boos and cheers thundering in response. Colbert leaning back, his hands raised cool and unfazed. Elon, take care, Mars won't miss you, his tone soft, but sharp, a parting shot that cut clean the audience, exploding with support, their wave of cheers crashing over him. A storm of applause for the host, who held the line while Musk fell apart. The Late Show studio buzzed like live wire, the sound of Elon Musk stomping steps fading into a memory, the lights bright and crisp against to set the crowd rising as a tide of emotion, anger, pride, joy, all flooding the room, their noise a defiant roar of voices lifted high in Colbert's name. He sat steady at his desk, his hands calm, his face strong as breath, even as he faced a now empty chair, the dangling mic, like a trophy of the clash, one a symbol of a billionaire's fall and a host's rise the night. Tipped on its side, now lifted in a turn. Toward victory, not by rage, but by resolve. Backstage chaos, crackle producers darting to the wings, headsets, buzzing phones flashing, as Musk's dramatic exit sent shockwaves. Through every screen he'd shoved past crew, a bitter snarl. Under his breath, his coat flapping behind him, a man, unraveling. Under pressure, his ego scorched. By Colbert's fire, his grace lost in the blaze. Clips hit the internet fast, already viral with Musk's angry exit and Colbert's cool defiance sparking a storm, some slammed. Musk's meltdown, others hailed Colbert's stand, but in the studio the spotlight stayed steady on the host, who sat firm. The audiences anchored the crowd as fire. He leaned into the mic, voice smooth, and sure, well, folks, looks like Elon's off to colonize the green room. Guess he didn't like the view from Earth, his tone dry, but playful, and it landed the room, burst into laughter, some clapping, some standing attention, cracking wide, open into a shared release. Colbert didn't gloat, didn't spike the moment. He turned it into a bond. One thought we'd talk rockets, not launch one off stage. My mistake, his grin wide, his fingers mimicking Musk's mic toss, drawing another round of laughter. Crowds surged with him, following his lead not through mockery, but rhythm and warmth. He pivoted, smooth, his voice rising. Okay, let's move on. We've got a show to do, folks. Ready for some fun? His hand reached out, and the audience roared back, their cheers a storm that shook the studio. A rally cry for the man who had taken the night's chaos and turned it into unity. Wasn't about Musk's tantrum anymore. It was about the room, about Colbert standing not with smugness, but with clarity, about the people in the seats and the millions watching from home who felt seen, heard, and defended a triumph not because a billionaire left, but because the everyman stayed, because truth held its ground while ego ran. The night flowed forward, the buzz of the crowd, a heartbeat pulsing. Steady a rhythm tied to Colbert's command to set no longer just a stage, but space reclaimed and alive. The break came and dissolved into cheers. The cameras rolled back, and the energy surged. Stephen Colbert standing tall, his posture easy as grin, wide as eyes lit with calm defiance. A host who had faced a storm and turned it into a signal flare for truth. He didn't dwell on Musk. He didn't stir up the embers. He simply moved with grace, letting the night rise behind him. Well, folks, we've had a little turbulence. Elon took off faster than his rockets. But we're still here, right? His voice sparked laughter again, some whooping, some clapping, the moment folding into something bigger, a shared story forged in real-time, connection bound not by celebrity, but by courage. The crowd leaned in, riding his rhythm, trusting his tone. The online storm swirled. But here in the studio, the show lived on, vibrant, and real clips of Musk's outburst, and Colbert's quips lighting up feeds, dividing opinions but uniting his crowd. The people knew who stood for them, and it showed in every cheer, every rising voice. The music guests came out, the band's lively rhythm washing through the room, a new wave of joy softening the edge of the night. Their bodies swaying, their hands clapping the clothes that felt earned, a moment wrapped in resolve, not rage, a glow born from standing tall, not striking back. As the clock wound down Colbert stood for his final moment alone under the lights, his figure strong, his voice rich with gratitude. You folks are the heart of this. Thanks for sticking with me. Hit that like button. If you failed to subscribe for more real nights, a smile, calm, steady, unwavering. A standing ovation rose around my roar that rattled the rafters of studio, a sea of faces lit with pride and purpose, some buzzing with energy, others beaming with joy, bound to a night that started as a routine interview and became a battle cry against arrogance. Colbert had turned the moment not into spectacle, but into a story, one that echoed far beyond the walls, one that left them all just a little more sure that truth still has a place on stage. The screen faded to black, a perfect, close to a night, that sort of reminder to laugh, to fight, to stand together. And if you love to stand, smash that like, subscribe, and stick with us for more.